quick looking down on the new cat, Illbliss tells old school artists.
Why drink the champagne like I do? Toss money all around, cuddling my boo. Toss money in the air, mad over you. And they don't understand how I feel about you. About with the bosses, bliss and run town.
Singer-songwriter, rapper and actor Illbliss in an interview with HIPTV has urged industry legends not to be condescending towards emergent Afrobeat artists, while acknowledging the hardships endured by legends in the past to ensure their music reached the audience. Illbliss cautioned against undermining the struggles and endeavors of the new generation of artists, discouraging the tendency to portray them as less hardworking. He understood the changing dynamics in the country, highlighting the emergence of new voices, investors and record labels, and emphasizing the evolution in music production and consumption. Illbliss described the current period as challenging for legends who fail to adapt to shifting trends. He has said that those unwilling to embrace the new wave of artists find it arduous to assimilate, attributing his continued relevance in today's music scene to his successful transition into movies. Notable mentions include the role in King of Boys and the production of a documentary on Showmax titled Free Men. He offered a poignant piece of advice to fellow legends, urging them to recognize and appreciate the time and effort Afrobeat artists invest in their music.
It's unfortunate that people disrespect the OGs, but the OGs also need to move like OGs. You need to also carry yourself with a lot of respect. You also need to understand that the younger generation is impatient. They want results. They create results. They work a lot. They work really hard. So you can't look down on them like we paved everything for you guys and you guys just came and inherited everything. They put in a lot of work as well. It just so happens that technology is in their favor, and all the changes that have happened in the music space is also in their favor. They're telling their own stories. Every single thing you see in the Afrobeat space today, every single aspect of it was built on a lot of sacrifice. It was built on a lot of work. From a lot of artists that sadly, maybe perhaps were ahead of their time, or it wasn't just, the ecosystem just wasn't as developed and I guess developed is the word, as it is today. I come from an era where there was basically no social media, minus probably Facebook, Nairaland, MySpace.com. That was how you could put your music out. I come from an era where you needed to go to the radio stations with your CDs and drop your albums or your singles from station to station. And if it was Ray Power, you would go to Alabado as far as it was. If it was anywhere, if it was Star FM down the road, you would go there. If it was Cool FM, you would go there. We were very hands-on. We built and worked tirelessly, and then times changed. And the way music is approached also changed. The new players got involved in the game, new investors, just new ways of doing things. Technology also caught up. So it's a tough time for probably people from that era that didn't transition. You know, when you transitioning is why Nas, for instance, is 50 years, but he's so impactful in the American hip-hop space. Jay-Z is 53, he's still doing the Super Bowl. He's still probably recording music, even if he doesn't put it out as much. And he's still making moves, still inspiring people, still mentoring the younger artists. Transition is when 50 Cent develops a TV smash hit called Power. And it's been there for so many years, and then he goes ahead and develops Power Book, which is a spin-off from Power, and develops Raising Canaan, and develops like all kinds of shows, and you know, that's a whole universe of content that is not the music. He hasn't put out music for probably a decade, you know, and transition is growth. Is when you start to look at everything like I can open up my brand and move in new directions, you know. And I'm a huge fan of transition and change, which is why I'm still in this business, which is why I can wake up and say I am making a new album. 4 years later, I have 3 eedris plaques on my shelf. That's the biggest, that's the most honorable piece of trophy, silverware that you can get in this game. You know, so I can dare say that I have done 360 in my career. I have won things like best rap albums, I've won Lyricist on the Road twice, but I just feel like there's a lot more to give. I never age. That's what I keep telling people. People see me maybe on the red carpets and they just kind of always ask me, why don't you ever age? You're always looking younger, you're always looking, and I laugh and I just say, because I don't have industry problems. The kind of things that inspire me are they're venture capitalist oriented. They're not the things that an artist wakes up, you know, and I don't, no disrespect to the people that make music 24 hours, but that's just not me. There's a part of me that television content needs. There's a part of me that mentorship needs. There's a part of me that TED Talks need. There's a part of me that continues to create. I'm always creating, you know, in and out of music.
Illbliss attributes the recent upsurge in artists of yesteryears, claiming credit for paving the way for the new generation to the failure of the old artists to transition effectively. In the current challenging economic times for Nigerians, the rapper highlighted that legends often go unnoticed as they weren't as visible on screens, with the audience primarily seeking out popular artists. He posited that legends' assertions that Afrobeat artists fail to acknowledge their influence stem from a lack of transition from old school to contemporary music. The rapper suggested that transitioning would garner more respect for a legend who trended in the 90s and still releases singles in the current era. He advised contemporary Afrobeat artists to show respect to legends even if they choose not to collaborate. On the other hand, he recommended that legends avail younger artists the benefits of their experience. Additionally, the rapper urged legends to actively engage with their audience, releasing new music and promoting their work to receive accolades rather than resting on past laurels.
The younger artists, just kindly show a lot of love to the OGs, even if you won't record with them. You know, you could sit in their sessions and maybe just teach them the new ways of doing things. I experienced that when I was making my new album, but you need to be open-minded about these things. It's a sad situation, just to back to your question, it's a sad situation, but I feel like both sides have a lot to give. Ageism is a problem. Yeah, go ahead. Music space. So you get to a certain age and everybody starts to look at you like you're done and dusted. But I dare say that should challenge the OGs. It's talent now, so go out, go in. You still have fans. Go ahead and create your community. The same way a Charlie Poppy, for instance, has this Pluto generation, and everybody, Wizkid has his FC, and Burna has the Outsiders. Go ahead and create whatever you need to create, your own community, even if they're older. Appeal to them, do shows for them while you're trying to sign on the new art, while you're trying to sign on a new following. Yeah, it's reinvention. Usher is an OG. He just packed out the Super Bowl. I mean, yes, you can say that their music industry, that their realities are different from ours. We are a reflection of our economy, sadly. It's a terrible time to be Nigerian right now in terms of the economy, you understand? So purchasing power, people have to eat first before streaming music and relaxing and all. So, you know, it's a tough time. Then you're an OG in that process. So you're not even top of mind. People are not even, you're not the people that come to anybody's mind, you understand? And then they have a lot of artists to choose from, you know? And then you begin to feel like, okay, the time slipped away. I was always very mindful of this. I was always mindful as an artist. I always told people that I never sit with the artist. I'm talking to the chief executives and power brokers. And it wasn't even about being disrespectful to your colleagues. It was about just knowing that the guys that own the platforms are the real bosses. They're going to be here forever. So what did you create when your boss was intense? What did you save? What did you invest in? A lot of people bought cars that have depreciation, if you understand basic accounting. A lot of people bought, you know, just paid a lot of money living in mad rented apartments and never owned houses. So when you come to a time like this, it's a lot of anxiety because you really own nothing. So transition is very crucial. Find something to do. Find another way that you can build.
Illbliss speaks on his forthcoming album, Sidikai. Illbliss is gearing up to launch a new album titled Sidikai, his first music in 4 years. The singer disclosed that the album explores his journey into fatherhood. He recounted the poignant experience of an 8-year wait and his first child and the premature birth of his second child at just 26 weeks. This pivotal moment, is said, were the most challenging times of his life, inspiring him to encapsulate them in his music for fans to comprehend his life outside music. Additionally, he revealed that the album's title, Sidikai, was derived from his daughter's names, whose pictures also graced the album cover. With 16 tracks in total, the album's scheduled release on Saturday, February 24, 2024, boasts collaborations with artists such as Odumodu Black, Fave, Lade, Vector, Tenny Cobams, and more.
My new album is called Sidikai. Sidikai is a combination of two names, Kachim Side and Sochikaima. These are my two beautiful daughters, 6.5 and 3.5 years respectively. These kids came into our lives very, very dramatically. So I waited for 8 years after marriage before I had Sochikaima. In fact, I remember my wedding day. The Headies was in Abuja on that day. It was May, yeah, 2009. And then Sochikaima came. I got married in 2009 and I had my child in 2017. So you see the gap, you understand? It's a lot of time. So Kachim Side came during COVID. She came as a premature baby. She came at 25 weeks. Wifey's water broke at 23 weeks. So it was a lot to deal with. And eventually the baby came and then went through incubation, and we spent weeks in the hospital before she grew enough for us to take her home. So looking at these girls, they changed my life dramatically. So this is my album about fatherhood. This is my album about the joy that family brings, that children bring into your life. This is my most meaningful album. So the times that I spend with them made me realize that these kids have become such an integral part of our lives, and I needed to just put them on the cover. I took a picture of them one Saturday morning standing on the dining table wearing my glasses and headphones. And then I came downstairs and they just shouted, "Papa, how do we look? How do we look?" And I just looked and I took the picture and I forgot about it. Weeks later, I was going through my phone and I saw that picture and I said, this is going to be my next album cover. So that's the story behind the cover. It's the story of how God just came through for us, for me and wifey. I started to create this album in October 2022. Yeah. I finished it in December 2022 and was going to drop it January 2023. But then the elections came, and I knew that with the elections would come a lot of distraction. So I decided to can it. And canning it didn't mean refusing to release it. I just wanted to keep it until the right time. And then after the elections, there's a lot of tension in the air. People were settling in back into their normal lives. And then I got busy. And then I started to do other things, started to create content for TV and everything. And that's how I am. I always like to give it time. I always like to focus. If it's album time, it's album time. If it's content creation time, it's content creation time. And then it kept delaying and delaying. And before I knew it, I was in November, December, and I wanted to release it. Then I looked around, there was so much music everywhere. I'm like, everything's just going to get drowned with this. Man, the turn up in December was deafening. And I said, nah, take it back into January, February. And that's why I'm dropping it on the 24th. So it's 24/2/24. That's the date that I'm dropping it, in 3 days. While recording this album, I sat down and I had like really deep reflections about what I wanted to say to the audience. I didn't want to be the same Illbliss or God Boss that I had been in all my past albums. So I wanted new information. I wanted new data. I wanted to work with new artists. So I started to piece together the music. The entire album, 14 tracks out of 16, was produced by a producer called Skita. Shout out to Skita. This young man brought my music back. I had a great opportunity to work with amazing artists like Cobhams Asokwo. Cobhams is on 2 records. He's on a song called Male. Male is, of course, dedicated to my mother. And another song called Spirit. So on Spirit is Cobhams and Made Kuti. Shout out to Made as well. Peace of Mind. Fave is on another record called Peace of Mind. I've been a Fave fan from the first single she dropped, from the first single she released, you know, and so we kept speaking on social media, on IG. I knew we were eventually going to make music, and eventually it happened, and it's such a beautiful record. Tenny is on Oh My God. Vector and Molade are on a record called Successful. Odumo Du Black is on Full Chest. That's a record I can't wait for you guys to hear. And who else? And of course, I also balanced it out with a couple new artists. So there's a new artist called Ukel. Ukel is on a record called Gen Z. It's on the album. Deborah Prest is an incredible vocalist. She's on another song called I Remember. So what I always try to do is I always try to balance it out. Some for the OGs and some for the young emerging artists. This is an incredible album. And I put in a lot of work into it. And I hope that with the audience out there watching this on HIPTV, they would give that album a chance, because there's so much going on in the music space now, you know, and it's a beautiful hip-hop album, and I need you to listen to it, support it, stream it.
As long as in Bali the great, Chapo Fino Zoro, one no lucha record deal. Cause it wanted the horns, I put too many people on. Oga boss is still a dawn, what I kill you, where were you born?